Hello everybody, Samuel from Movie Tuesday here. I'm here to review. The film features a wealthy business tycoon trying to secure funding for his most audacious venture yet, while at the same time dodging assassination attempts and trying to convince his daughter to become the sole heir to his estate. Being a Wes Anderson fan for the past couple years, I've gone through his entire catalog and I'm a fan of most of his feature films. As time has gone on, like a lot of fans of his, including myself, have become increasingly worried that his work is sort of devolving very slowly into a sort of parody of itself. I'm someone that actually enjoyed Asteroid City quite a bit, but I agreed with the common criticism that the characters were just way too flat. Like obviously it was intentional. They intentionally made like all the performances very dry, very emotionless, and it was sort of worked as a comedic vessel. But at the same time, I just think you have to have more heart and more character than was featured in those movies. And it felt like if it was going to keep going in that direction and getting more and more like that, it was sort of just going to become a circle jerk of Wes Anderson's aestheticism and sort of his style without truly like having an interesting story to tell. So going into the Phoenician Scheme, I mainly just wanted proof that Wes Anderson still had it. I wanted him to sort of return to his roots a little bit, and I just wanted a movie that was able to help me connect with the characters, empathize with them, and have a somewhat interesting story to tell, right? And overall, the Phoenician Team is definitely a good movie from Wes Anderson. I can say that without a doubt. It's a good movie. It fixes a lot of the problems that I actually have with this recent work, like in Asteroid City. The characters were good, the performances were memorable. Benicio del Toro especially, like, there's scenes of him like yelling, him being super emotive, which is something that has been missing from Wes's work. There's just a much more dynamic range of emotions, and I really enjoyed the chemistry between sort of our main three characters, which are Benicio del Toro, his daughter, who's a nun, played by Mia Threepleton, and their tutor, played by Michael Cera, which, you know, Michael Cera and Wes Anderson is a match made in heaven. People have been asking for that for years, and they deliver here. They gave him a character that has a lot of range, and I'm very happy about that. The dad and the daughter sort of, I think, serve as like two opposing perspectives, right? The dad is this cutthroat businessman. It's kind of played for laughs too, but he's like, you know, he's a tycoon, right? Like he will do anything for profit. There's multiple offhanded remarks about like how he employs slave labor and he's caused famines for profits, and it's mostly played for laughs, which I thought was kind of interesting. They were really funny. It's a very funny movie. That's the best thing I can say about it. And then, you know, Mia Threepleton playing this nun, she's very appalled by a lot of her father's behavior. She sort of, you know, wants to look at things through a more moralistic lens. Like she believes that her father's probably going to hell. And the father is a staunch atheist in the movie, along with some of the other characters. But there's these sort of experimental like glimpses into like these dreams that he has with like these religious imagery. Like Willem Dafoe shows up to be like some kind of angel or something, and then I believe Bill Murray plays God in like one brief scene, which is very interesting. And I'm glad, you know, at the level that Wes is at, he's still taking these sort of narrative risks and still throwing in these things that might kind of leave some audience members in the dark. But you know, I'm glad that with the budget he's in the cast that he's working with, he's still sort of taking these leaps. Really, I think like the father and daughter's perspectives kind of serve as the thematic underbelly for the film, because it is a film that's concerned about capitalism versus morality, like profit seeking versus doing the right thing. And that's sort of what the character arc reflects. But I was a little disappointed that those sort of thematic ties don't go much deeper than the sort of caricatures that the father and daughter have. They both go through an interesting journey, but that conversation about capitalism doesn't really go very deep, I don't think, especially considering that one of the characters in the movie is, one of the side characters is literally a communist revolutionary. I'm not saying Wes Anderson has to come out and do this huge, like, you know, Marx-inspired like critique of capital, but I think they could have gone much more interesting places with that than they did. And that brings me to the actual plot, which I did not find particularly interesting. It's serviceable. Sort of at the beginning of the film, they lay out what the plot's going to be like. Basically, he's trying to gain funding for this project of his, and so he has to go around to all the different investors and try to convince them to up how much they're willing to invest. And so it's really just structured in a way that we just get a series of interactions between Benicio del Toro's character and these other A-listers who are in like one scene, like Scarlett Johansson, Jeffrey Wright, who I loved in Asteroid City as well. He's incredible here. Riz Ahmed is one of them. And like these scenes are all very fun and they all are able to play to like a very good comedic effect. But I do wish like there wasn't that much of a plot there to tie everything together. Like it was very bare bones, and I wish it could have been a little bit more interesting than that. Like I mentioned, like I sort of touched on, I do think it serves very well as a comedy. It has a lot of very intricate like visual gags, you know, in Wes Anderson's classic style, and it's shot beautifully. It looks incredible. It left a little bit to be desired for me on both the thematic front and on the sort of plot structure, right? Like I feel like they could have given more for us to chew on there. So in conclusion, the Phoenician Scheme is definitely a very good Wes Anderson movie. Not very good. In conclusion, The Phoenician Scheme is a good Wes Anderson movie, and if you like his movies, I'm sure that you'll like this one. I think it is sort of a sign that he's trending in a more positive direction. In my eyes, it's sort of more of a return to form for what I want from him, but at the same time, I do think that like this isn't the type of movie he's going to be remembered for. Once we're all long and gone, when people talk about Wes Anderson, the movies they're going to remember are like, I want to say Rushmore, The Grand Budapest Hotel. I still think that those movies have like way more way more character to them, way more purpose, way more like in-depth themes. I think that the complexity just isn't there on this one, unfortunately. But I'm always excited to see what he puts out. I'm really excited for whatever next movie he decides to work on. I would give this film a low 7 out of 10, personally, because I do think it's kind of middle of the road, especially as far as his films are concerned. But I'm very glad the direction we're moving in. I'm glad that he was able to inject more character, more passion, more sort of love and interesting relationships into this one compared to some of his most recent films. But y'all should definitely check it out. Let us know what you think in the comments. Thank y'all very much for watching. Y'all have a good day. I think that's good. I think I touched on everything.